Let's do this. Here we are, man. Here we are, man. It's a good time. Conference finals are here. Draft lottery's here. Excited for it all. Lakers are in it. Celtics are in it and whatever. But Matt, since he's here, we'll talk about it.
You ain't gonna hate off the top.
But it's your boys G, Alec, and Matt. Here with another great episode to talk to you guys about the conference finals that are here. Also give a quick talk about WEMBANYAMA, how you say his name. Let's make sure I get his name right now before he gets into the league and the draft lottery coming up this week. Excited to get into all of that. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like, review, subscribe, comment, share, all the good stuff for us. As you can see, we're real riled up. Alex joining us from Paris today. So he's joining us at 5 in the morning, wherever it is over there, and we're
11 o'clock at night, boy.
Get this going. Oh, we have the same thing. We're excited to get this going. So thank y'all for tuning in. All right, so starting with what we're most excited for right now, the conference finals are here. Lakers beat the Warriors in 6 games, as me and Alec predicted, and got over the hump there to now advance to the conference finals against Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. So very excited here to talk about it. We'll get to the other side as well in regards to Boston and Miami in a moment. Just looking at this series, just a quick first thought before we deep dive it. Alec, we'll start with you. What are your first thoughts on this matchup?
Well, you see my little tagline there, Lakers in 6 right there. That's what I'm going for. I think it's going to be a very competitive series. I don't think the Lakers run away with anything here. I think Jokic is elite, arguable MVP this year. But I think AD, that's going to be the key matchup of this series, Jokic versus AD. And I think AD, with what he can provide defensively, is going to put it over the top for us. And then he's going to make Jokic work defensively, and that's not Jokic's strong suit. So that's why I give the slight edge. I think they're fairly even teams, both fairly deep. But I got Lakers in 6.
Okay. Just excited for it. Matt, what do you think? Just a quick first thought.
Yeah, I would say Lakers in 7, mostly because of what AD does. I mean, he was alternate days for a while. We made that joke on the episode I was on with Vic, or DJ, sorry.
Correct.
But like he's going to be the best defender Jokic has played so far.
Absolutely.
I mean, he might be the best defender he could play, period.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really fun matchup. I mean, he's an incredible passer. So obviously AD isn't able to shut down all aspects of his game.
Right.
But as long as, he can start that defensive front, and then everyone else is able to get out and defend the shooters, really. Like Jamal Murray's kind of the only guy you have to, worry about off the dribble. But, Michael Porter Jr. too. So, as long as you can cut those guys off and sort of Jokic's passing lanes, I think Lakers should win the series.
Yeah, I'm rolling with Alec in regards to 6 games. I think we could do that with how things match up. I think with our depth and things, definitely think we have enough of an arsenal to go at this high-part offense that Denver provides. And, I think it's going to be a fun series, a dogfight that I'm excited to get into. On the other side, I'm looking at what's going on with Boston and Miami. This is what, the 4th time they've matched up now? Matt, how you feel?
3rd time in 4 years, something like that?
3rd time in 4 years, whatever it is. How you feel about these two getting together again in the conference finals?
If you had asked me at the start of the playoffs, right, what team do you most not want to face in the conference finals? I would have said Milwaukee first.
Okay. Sure. I was going to say. Yeah.
The second one, this is before Jimmy did what he did against Milwaukee and, again against New York. I would have put them second just because, I mean, they're the one team to really recently do it, in that bubble year, last time they played the Lakers. But just seeing the tear that Jimmy's on, I feel like specifically, the way he likes to take over games late and get to the free throw line is specifically a way I think the Celtics are vulnerable. Their adjustment last series against the Sixers was Rob Williams. So obviously he will help the interior defense there. And as long as the Heat have a guy on the floor that we can sort of hide Robert Williams on, and he can, do his thing like a free safety, like we should be able to contain it. But I am nervous about the matchup, even with Harrow out,
Real quick, quick question. Is Jimmy Butler the best playoff riser we've ever seen?
Gotta be.
that we've
I thought about, like, you know, playoff Rondo, playoff P, of course, but
I mean, that's a playoff faller. Let's not.
exactly. But Jimmy, he kind of coasts throughout the regular season. We think he's capable of more, and it seems like almost every postseason, minus the one like the year after the bubble where they had the shortened off season and had a, I think, first round exit. Other than that, like, his playoff runs have been exceptional. You see him dropping 40-point, 50-point games in the playoffs, in the finals, and he does it on a consistent basis. So it seems to me like he's one of the better, if not the best, playoff riser we've seen.
Yeah, the only other player that comes to mind for me would be like Robert Horry, but that's more of like making big individual shots,
right? More of a role player,
taking over a game. Yeah.
In regards to a lead, I mean, obviously, anytime you see best ever, people all make it go to LeBron and Kobe and all those guys. Those guys are good all year long, though. So I wouldn't necessarily count those guys in. As you pointed out, Jimmy Butler can sometimes coast during the regular season. So in regards to guys that seem like they coast during the regular season and then elevate, I would say that he is close to, if not at the very top of that list of risers there.
I'll say Jokic is right there too. Like, Jokic, I think, was averaging like 25 points in the regular season, and I think he's up now to 30 plus. As well. So he obviously can do it, but he kind of distributes. Obviously, he's an elite passer at 10 assists a game and does all the other things, but he can score too, and I think he rises to that level in the playoffs as well. Jamal Murray on his team as well is another good pick for a riser who is not really I definitely wouldn't put him in superstar category, but he almost rises to that level in the playoffs at times, we've seen. So there's a few other guys, but I think Jimmy really exemplifies that.
He's up there, and a guy on the complete opposite side is what we just saw with the Sixers and Embiid and Harden and that collapse yet again.
My favorite
their collapse
Celtics performer.
And should that trio of Embiid, Harden, and Rivers be broken up?
I mean, it seems like Harden might have his heart set on going back to Houston, so it seems like it may be inevitable. I personally don't feel that Embiid is the problem. He has had bad performances in spots of series, like kind of choked in that Atlanta Hawks series where they could have went to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then in this game 7 against Boston, him and Harden, absolute disappearing acts. So he definitely deserves a lot of the blame for it. But as far as breaking up that trio, I think Doc Rivers got to be out personally. I think Embiid, they probably want to retain. Harden, they probably have some level of wanting to retain him, but I think they would be open to letting him go just after what you saw once again in the playoffs. In a pivotal game, he no-showed. So I think Embiid is the most solidified in staying in Philly. I think Rivers, I assume he's going to get fired, and I think Harden is kind of 50-50.
Gotcha. Matt, you saw your team and beat him up. What do you think of watching that for a whole series?
Yeah, I mean, of the three, I think I agree with Alec. Doc should probably be let go. And then I think it's like, I don't even think they should try to bring Harden back, like, period, after that, personally. Like, he's a guy that's going to command that much money, command the ball to be effective, and we just saw what happens in the playoffs. Like, he had 2 great games this series, but those were 2 – and there were 2 wins for them, but they were not closeout games. You know, like he didn't really show up game 6 or 7. And that's
especially in the fourth quarter. I think he had like no points in the fourth quarter for like the last 3 games or whatever. So,
and specifically for the Sixers too, like something I noticed on a game-to-game basis, and then definitely things added up by the time we got to game 7, Embiid gets really tired. Like, and that's not to say he's like out of shape or whatever, but the way he runs the floor when he's really engaged and all of that, the defense and offensive load that he has for this team, he gets so tired by the fourth quarter. And he still had good performances early in the series, but I think you really see how that adds up by game 7. And if you're able to have someone, I don't know, I've heard people try to talk about a Damian Lillard to Philly trade, and like that would be a great fit because Dame's the guy that, like Joel got us through the first 3 quarters. Now he's just going to play lockdown defense. Dame, go score 20. Like, and he'd gladly do it. So I think that would be a good move for them. I don't know if they can make it work. But even if they don't, I think Tyrese Maxey really impressed me in this series. He kind of can disappear from their offense at times, but I think a lot of that is because of James Harden's presence. And having the two of them be your lead guards is pretty weak on defense. So I think whether it's giving, him the keys to the offense as the point guard and you start Melton at the two, that's a better defensive, setup. And if Maxey can, he has the potential to be like a 20-point a game scorer. Like, I don't know how well he would do distributing, but I don't hate that as an option because their guard defense was an issue here.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. There's something to look at. Definitely disappointing to see. Embiid, we talked about failures and things. They've almost saying, ironically, with Doc there, have turned into like the Clippers Eastern in a way, the team that we had high hopes for, and they had this vision of a rebuild and have never even still yet to get to a conference finals and things. So sad to see how that continues to go. But tying back to what we're talking about now with the conference finals and Jokic and to talk about him, they were in the race for MVP all year long, and because of narratives and things, they ended up leaning more towards Embiid. The question I have real quick is, will Embiid's postseason failure stop the influence of narratives on big award races going forward? No. You're shaking your head like that already?
I don't think so. I also think, too, it's more of an issue not of his play in the postseason because it's still a regular season award. I think more of the issue is giving the award right after the season ends, not waiting until almost the third round of the playoffs to give a regular season award out, because then fans conflate their play in the playoffs with what happened in the regular season, and it almost like gets forgotten what the regular season that they put up, and it's about, oh, this guy's Giannis is already out of the playoffs in the first round, like shouldn't have even been in consideration, that kind of thing, and I think that gets kind of complicated. So I think you eliminate some of the issues with the MVP award by giving it out at the end of the regular season. I think narratives are always going to play a slight part into it, but in order for the narrative to work, you have to have the individual statistics for it too. Like you don't get the narrative MVP for Russ if he's not averaging 31, 10, and 10. Like you don't get that MVP as a 6 seed if you're not putting up a historical season. So the narrative is going to play a part into it at times. I think voter fatigue, the idea of that is more of an issue than like the narrative part of it, because the narrative only works when the guys are also balling out.
Right. Yeah. Matt, what do you think?
I think I want to start. Alec, you made a good point about like the timing of the ceremony. Like, I know Embiid mentioned, I think the Sixers lost Game 3 when he got the award.
Yeah.
And, I think he spoke to like, it's such a emotionally charged, and like his particular interview was pretty emotional.
Yeah.
To then have to jump right back into a game like 5 minutes later, it's kind of crazy. So, I think the NFL, they do like their NFL honors, like, they do like an Oscars type ceremony or whatever. And I think that would be a good way to do it. You'd get better interviews from the players, and you wouldn't have that sort of impact that Joel spoke about. But G, to your question, I think narratives probably shouldn't play as much of an impact as they do, but I'm with Alec in general that that's not going to stop. I do think it is ironic that a lot of, the detractors to Jokic getting a third one this year was, oh, well, he's won back-to-back and hasn't had success in the playoffs. And then we give it to Joel, who doesn't have success in the playoffs.
Hasn't been to a conference final.
Right. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I still think Embiid deserved it. Whether this year or even one of the Jokic ones, I think there was an argument to him having an MVP season the last 3 years. So I'm glad he got the trophy. He definitely deserves it. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of pressure to put on these guys to, give them that right before it and be like, it's not a playoff award, but we're giving it to you 5 seconds before you start in a playoff game. Good luck. Can
y'all just
make
vote
sure you
earlier?
soak it in.
Like,
They got to figure out how to get that voting done in a faster way so they can get it earlier on in the postseason. So, I agree with y'all. I just want to throw out see what you had to say. And, I definitely think that I don't think the narratives will fully die off, but it may adjust some thought processes going forward. So excited for that. But now back to what we're here for, talking about the conference finals. As I said, talking about Jokic and other guys who are still in the hunt. Looking at this Lakers-Nuggets series, what was the first question I had? Excuse me. The first one was just as people have been talking about, you guys brought up in your earlier quick analysis. Do you think Denver has enough depth just to even keep up with LA, ironically? Alec, I'll start with you. You think Denver can keep up with LA and all that they've shown off their bench and things?
I do. I think they are the I guess they're the third deepest team because I think the Celtics are pretty deep too. They just didn't go as deep into the well until they did get some like Robert Williams minutes in Game 6, that kind of thing.
Right.
But I think the Celtics are probably 1 or 2 as far as the deepest, and then Lakers, and then Nuggets, and then obviously Miami it's kind of Jimmy and the Pips there.
Right.
So, but yeah, I do like Denver's depth. Not that they have a whole lot of offensive creation off the bench, but they have guys that are really good in their individual roles. Like KCP, great defender. Like they could probably use a little bit better 3-point shooting from him in the playoffs, especially in this series if they want to win.
Right.
But I mean, he's great in his defensive role. Bruce Brown, kind of a mini center out there at times.
Massachusetts native.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Christian Brown, the Kansas young guard, has been getting some run too. But
he's decent though.
He's decent. Yeah, he is decent. But then like they're even their starters, like the guys around Jokic and Murray. I think Aaron Gordon is going to be huge for them. If they want to win the series, he has to be. Michael Porter as well. I think what will hurt them is like the big man depth, because Jokic has to guard AD, and then after that, they're not playing Thomas Bryant. They better hope to God they don't have to play DeAndre Jordan. And if it's
DeAndre Jordan a mile high in the air, no.
Come on, man. After that, like at the 4 position, it's like Jeff Green. So like, yeah, like that's where it's gonna hurt them, the depth wise at the big man spot. But I think down the line they have some pretty solid depth to keep up with the Lakers.
Now you agree?
Yeah, I think I definitely want to shout out Bruce Brown, not just because he's a Massachusetts native, but he's been playing really well. He's basically like their only like consistently contributing bench piece, and he's really versatile. Like I think a lot of that time he spent in Brooklyn when they were using him basically as a big man center, like he can kind of take on that role if you need him to. And I think that adding like different uses to your game, like ways you can be plugged into an offense or defense, really adds a lot of value. I think he's helped them tremendously there. I think a lot of it's, we're talking about the depth, but I think it's really going to come down to Porter Jr. and Murray for the Nuggets. Like if we get Jamal Murray, like we got in the bubble, like we were talking about with him elevating his game in the playoffs, like they're going to be really hard to stop.
Got you. Yeah, I see the depth matching up. We had people in our comments and our DMs and things trying to say that the Denver had a lot more depth than we do, and I think the LA, that depth is, I guess, still seems to be underrated by folks. So yeah, I do think that it matches up well, and then it just goes to the guys that's up top and seeing what these guys on Denver with MPJ and Gordon and Jamal Murray and others can provide for them. So very interesting to see how that plays out. And then beyond going into the X-Factor questions, I always do want to switch it up. So I ask a different version of it this time around. So I'll start with LA. So LA wins this series if what?
If AD plays like a top 5 player on both ends of the floor, and the role players continue to contribute offensively as they have been, which I have faith that they will. So,
Matt, same to you. LA wins this series if what?
Anthony Davis plays like Anthony Davis. I think that's kind of where it starts and ends. Obviously, the bench pieces, like Alex saying, they're very important. Like when you get 15 in the fourth from Lonnie Walker, it helps a lot to win. But I think specifically because he matches up with Jokic, and like I said to start the Lakers segment, like this is by far the biggest test he's had in the playoffs, and plays well in the playoffs usually, but this is also Anthony Davis. Like it's a different beast.
Yeah. This is the number 1 offense in Denver going up against number 1 defense. So if the Lakers, if we can keep those numbers down for Denver and not have them be as potent as they usually are on the offensive side, I think we can go with the hump there. I think it is also a series where, in a way, as you guys have already kind of pointed out, but just to reiterate, you just let Jokic do what he does offensively in regards to individually. If he averages 45 points and 10 rebounds, but he only has 6 assists, I'm cool with that. When he has the 25 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists, when he's facilitating on all aspects and he is getting other guys involved, which results in, as you point out, those other pieces having great games as well. That's where they become as potent and dangerous as they are. So yeah, I almost say let Jokic be Jokic in their way, but shut down everybody else. And I think that will still allow us to get over the hump there. I'm very excited for how these things play out. But I guess I will ask, though we all pick the Lakers, for Denver to win, I'll flip it for them. Alec, Denver wins this series if what?
Yeah, it's pretty simple for me. If Jamal Murray has a superstar level series, because I think you are going to get production from Jokic regardless. AD, you can't stop an elite player like that. AD can only slow him down, and I think he will slow him down. And part of slowing him down, too, will be making him work on the defensive end, how we made Steph work and his efficiency dropped as the series went on. I think you're going to have to do the same with Jokic. But if that's the case, the Nuggets are going to need Jamal Murray to be a superstar level player right alongside Jokic. I think if he can consistently do that, they have a shot to win this series. But I'm not sure if he can, because I believe the Lakers are the best defense in the league currently. So, but if he can overcome, that's how I can see the Nuggets winning.
And Matt, you agree? Denver wins the series if what?
You're gonna hate me for this one, G. But if they exploit D'Angelo Russell on defense, I think he's, they're the number one defense for sure, but he's the weakest link. He's the smallest. Like, I think Murray's like 6'5", so he has some size on D'Lo.
A little shorter, but yeah, right around there.
But either way, like, I think that's gonna be the weakest link when he's out there. I mean, I don't like Dennis Schroeder either, but he'd probably be a little bit better defensively.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, like Ham's not shy about pulling guys when they're not producing like we need them to. Like Vanderbilt didn't even start the last game.
Right.
So I'm not as worried about that.
As I said, I asked you about Vanderbilt starting.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Just point it out. Okay, go ahead.
G wants a cookie, but go ahead.
Thank you. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, you were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I think if they exploit D'Lo, like, to at least get either like Porter Jr. or Murray going, because like the other option I was thinking of saying is basically if you can have either Porter Jr. or Murray in that mode where like they can just go get a bucket in the fourth. Like Murray will usually have that. I feel like Porter Jr. also has it in him. But I think if that Nuggets offense has one of those guys cooking around Jokic in the fourth quarter, they're going to be pretty hard to stop.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, so we're very excited to how that plays out. I do think that kind of as I talked about, just a flip of what I said for the Lakers. If Jokic can get those other guys involved and active, and that bench is cooking as they potentially can, that definitely can be a winning formula for them. And we'll see if that plays out. We all said it won't, but it's possible with what we've seen so far this season. So interesting things to pay attention to there. And that's really it I have for the series right now. We're going to give our prediction. I think me and Alec both say in 6. Alec, Matt, you said in 7. So we're looking excited for that. And then put them to Matt's team again with the Celtics and what's going on there. There's been a lot back and forth from breakup rumors last series. It seemed like to title runs now. What's the truth about this Celtics squad? Like, what's going on there?
And so if you caught the last episode I was on, you may have heard the impassioned I guess rant about Celtics fans, and you're speaking to a lot of that, G. I mean, part of the reason I was so frustrated was like the crowd, it felt like in game 5 was acting like losing that game meant we were completely out of the playoffs. Like 7-game series, we got 2 more, guys. Like I don't know. It's and a lot of Celtics fans were feeling that way. I don't know if it was maybe the Bruins losing early in very historical fashion, kind of like put the air of a curse in the building. But I mean, I was nervous, obviously.
You're kind of crapping in Tatum's mouth after he got.
Oh yeah, no, and like listen,
you're part of it.
If you interviewed me at the end of the third quarter in Game 6, it would have been 10 times worse. But he redeemed himself. I mean, he scored, I think it was 16 in that fourth quarter. Played basically perfect basketball to help us get the win, and then took over and got 51. I mean, this version of Tatum is why I was so mad to start. Because honestly, like still, even in the wake of losing that, they're winning that series now, I still am kind of just mad that that it took that long. Like their losses were pretty preventable, especially if Jason Tatum played better. Now, all is forgiven because they made it through, but like Marcus Smart got kind of re-aggravated a back injury in Game 7. Like, would we have needed to play 7 if Jason Tatum didn't wait so like till the last minute to step up. But it was good to see this version of him again. He was this player pretty much all through last year's playoff run until we got to the finals. So I'm hoping he can carry this momentum to the finals this year.
Got it. And then with that, looking at the series real quick, what do you think? Do you think Miami has a chance in this, or are you confident, very confident that the Celtics are going to get it done?
Miami has a chance. As much as I would love to say, they're the 8 seed, they're injured.
Respect them, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, they're okay. So they're like the one team to recently beat the Celtics from the Eastern Conference recently, and then last year they were a Jimmy Butler open transition 3 away from beating this team in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's a different team that they have now, but also in that series last time, like Jimmy had a couple of his Jimmy Butler playoff games, but I think he also had 1 or 2 where he scored single-digit points. So I don't know if they can carry over any defensive strategy from those games, or personally, I think this year, almost because of all the injuries with the Heat, Jimmy now is able to look around and basically be like, okay, I'm on this 3rd stringer Timberwolves practice team again. Like, I actually have to take over. I have to do everything.
Respect Kyle Lowry, man.
Hey, they won that game.
That's the single player on this team that I do not respect.
Oh my!
He's probably going to hit big threes, but I absolutely hate him.
A lot of charges.
Toronto, so he's going to draw the most infuriating charge on Tatum.
I think they draw like the most charges in the league between him and Kevin Love, and
for sure. And that's part of it too. Like looking at Kevin Love on this Heat team now, it's kind of just like, wait, why did Cleveland get rid of him again? Like
because he hated Cleveland, probably.
I mean, and fair enough. He's living in Miami now. It's better weather, but like they're good. It's all going to be on Jimmy's back. I think we all know that. And then I also think Eric Spoelstra definitely has some devil magic up his sleeve. He's probably the best coach in the league now, if I had to say.
I think he's just a top 5. I think he's just a top 5 coach all the time. Like I'm ready to say that.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they make it to the finals with this
and
team.
He's never won Coach of the Year. I think I heard that stat the other day. He hasn't got Coach of the Year yet, which is crazy.
Is that like the LeBron big 3 effect? Like they didn't give it to him because of that?
The Russell Wilson MVP votes.
I guess.
I don't know. I just think it's something. But
that comparison, Spoelstra's head and shoulders above anything Russ does.
Of course. Just saying for a guy to be talented and not have votes to match that is crazy. But definitely interesting things there. And then Alec, just your thoughts. All right, Matt. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, just while we're speaking on the coaches, Joe Mazzulla got a lot of negativity thrown towards him. Towards Game 5.
He's an email merchant.
Dude, and I love his coaching style. It's a little weird. He's a weird dude. Like he is a legitimately weird human being. Like there was an interview where like Marcus Smart was being like interviewed on camera, and then like Joe's walking by and just off camera does a cartwheel and is like, "You can't do that" to Marcus Smart. Like he's
on concrete.
Literally. If that's it, yeah. But he does weird stuff like that. And then like the main advice that like in like coaching speak that he would like give to the players in the huddle is like, I love you, I trust you. Like, but like it's the exact opposite of Ime. Yeah. But like, so that's normally his messaging. And then there were a couple timeouts, I think, in like I think it was in Game 7, like right before the Celtics turned it on and got that 20 to 30 point lead. Like he was screaming at them. So like I think for someone like Ime, if you're always screaming at them and always calling them assholes, like you might not be able to turn it up higher when you need to in the playoffs. But what Joe did in Game 7, like if his normal advice to you is I love you and I trust you, and then all of a sudden you're kind of fucking around in Game 7 and he's actually yelling at you, it's going to make a big impact. And I think it really did. Like whatever he said in that huddle, those words really made an impact. So I like the job he's done a lot. Like let's not forget, this has probably been the weirdest, I mean, I know I'm using that word again, but just like the strangest first head coaching season I'm ready to say anyone's ever had. Like he gets thrown in amid a controversy, inherits this team that almost won the NBA Finals last year, was able to keep continuity, had a much better start than Ime Udoka did, took his lumps, and was still able to get here. And like through all of that, like he was still the interim up until the All-Star weekend. Like there have been questions about like, should we offer him an extension? Is he too young? he's still doing it. Like, he's making effective calls. The Rob Williams, him starting in Game 6 made a huge impact. Sure, you could say maybe you should have done that earlier, but he flipped the switch when he needed to. So I can't be too mad at that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think very well. Real quick, I think Darvin is a good pitch for where the season as well. But I hear what you're saying about all that's going on in Boston. Alec, what you have to say in regards to Matt and the Celtics?
Yeah, I was gonna say to Mazzulla's credit, like I did have the Celtics, I think, like as a 4 seed. Like I thought they'd still be a top 4 seed, but I thought losing Ime would hurt more than it did, and like he was able to keep the ship steady, just as steady, and they finished with the 2 seed, right? The Celtics. Yeah. So I will give him credit there, but also to Ime's credit, I don't think it necessarily was his coaching like deficiencies as to why they lost the finals. I think they ran into a better team with Steph Curry, Powers, who's an all-time great. So, I think Ime easily could have been in this same spot that Mazzula is right now as well. But
I mean,
I guess what was your original question? Oh, go for it, man.
I was just gonna say, since we're talking about Ime, like him calling everyone assholes, that seems like a pretty good strategy for this Houston team. If James Harden goes there, I don't know if he'll listen, but like they got a lot of young guys, and that team never seemed that organized. So
we'll
they need a coach to tell them they need a coach to tell them they ain't shit yet. For sure.
Yeah,
it's time for that. It's time for that. I think he may do it. So exciting things going on all over there. But back to the series. Do you have any official prediction, Matt? Real quick, I'll go to you one more time. What's your prediction for the series?
I'm really torn on this. I'm gonna say the Celtics are winning regardless, but there's a part of me that wants to say I'm like torn basically between Celtics in 5 and 7. I think I'm gonna go with 7 just because I am a believer in the Heat devil magic.
Got it.
But yeah, I want to say 5 just because I thought the Sixers should have been in 5. I still, even looking back, I'm like, okay, if this team played like they can, like it would have been 5. But I'm just nervous because it's only Jimmy and they have a lot of injuries. Like they're gonna underestimate this team. Like their problem has been all year, like they had some bad blowouts to like the Thunder and stuff in the regular season. Like sometimes this team just decides not to show up, and that's kind of what happened in at least it felt like the middle of that Sixers series, really in Game 5 particularly. But I'm gonna go with Celtics in 7.
Matt, Alec, you agree?
I do agree with Celtics in 7. I was gonna say it feels like malpractice at this point to like choose Celtics in 5 after what we've seen throughout this playoff. Like with on paper and their regular season record, you would expect them to have dominated the Hawks. I expected. I actually did say
maddening that was. Yeah,
I actually did say it was going to be a closer series than it probably should be. So we were right about that, but. On paper, you would think like this Celtics team is significantly better than the Hawks. They should take care of them at most 5, and then with the Sixers, like they were on the brink of getting eliminated, and the up and down nature of your superstar and Jason Tatum, like which was frustrating for you to watch. I think because of that inconsistency, like you can't be as confident in them sweeping or getting it in 5 when. Ultimately, they probably should sweep or get it in 5 because of how talented they are in comparison to the Heat. But because of that inconsistency, especially closing games in these playoffs, I think I lean Celtics in 7. I do think they still win because ultimately the talent gap, I think, is too overwhelming. And it's a good defensive team as well in the Celtics. And I think it's going to be too much for Jimmy to get 4 wins. Kind of on his lonesome. So
I agree.
I'm gonna go with the Celtics in 7.
I agree. I don't think as great as Jimmy is, I don't know if he has enough now with Harold Allen and the team that he has around him to get 4 wins there. If he may get 1 or 2. You guys said 6. Matt Young went to 5. I'm gonna put the difference. Or you guys said 7.
No, I'm going 7.
I'm gonna go 6 there and say Celtics in 6, and they get it done there. So very excited for that. I'm looking forward to how this thing plays out. It's going to be very fun on both sides. A Lakers Celtics final series will be another one for the ages that will definitely have.
Matt, Kyle Lowry is going to win the Heat a game, and you're going to be furious.
Oh, I already can tell. Yeah. Even if I said Celtics in 5, their one win would have been a Kyle Lowry game. I already know it's coming.
Yep.
Oh gosh. So yeah, looking forward to all of that. But yeah, that's it in regards to the conference finals for now. We're a couple of days out still for the G's units for right now. They don't have anything of the odds up yet for me to put anything out, but I'll post those on our IG.
Lottery?
I'm a lottery, but we'll get to that in a moment. But for the games, I'll have those posted tomorrow as games get underway. But going to the lottery, as Matt brought up, it will be happening in a couple of days, or by the time, I think on tomorrow, I believe, Tuesday it is. So looking forward to how that plays out. And it kind of snuck up on us. I didn't realize it was in time for it. But here we are. It's going to be as I said, the WEMBANYAMA sweepstakes for a lot of folks. The top teams with odds right now are the Pistons, Rockets, and Spurs, all with 14% chances to get the first pick, as they have the lowest standing, or lowest. They were lowest in the standings this year, followed by Charlotte, Portland, Orlando, Indiana, Washington, Utah, Dallas, Chicago. So yeah, a lot of teams that very well could use its services. There's going to be a lot of folks that are hoping that they work some magic to get their guy to get into the top spot. Where would you guys first off want to see WEMBANYAMA go in this lottery? Alec, I'll start with you.
I really don't care, to be honest. Like like all
You're
those
the one
teams
in
are
France.
Right.
I know, right?
That's crazy.
But no, it doesn't really matter to me. Like, I think there are some places where it might be like an interesting tandem. But all these teams, I don't think are immediately like making a jump like with him there either. Like, I think they'll be decent, but I think wherever he goes, it's going to be box office in some way. So like, sure. I'm interested to see him play regardless of what uniform he's in. So I really don't have a lean either way with Rockets or Pistons or Spurs, whatever. Yeah.
You know the answer, but I say I will. I think him going to Detroit, who have the top odds anyways, I think that'd be a great fit. I have a lot of faith in Caden that he'll bounce back from his injury. Jaden Ivey was a guy that
they already have like 17 centers too.
They have a few big there, but him being the stretch type guy that he is, he could be on the outside still. Those guys still roam around the middle and still find ways to work, or they can readjust and get rid of those guys in other ways. As a lot of them have been there for some time now and haven't worked as they hoped. So a lot of research that could be done with him down low there. So yeah, Detroit would be top pick, and then anywhere, on those other squads, sure could use them. So we'll see. For entertainment's sake, Portland to save Dame over there would be a nice kind of getting some.
They're cursed, man. His legs gonna snap.
I don't want to curse it either. So we'll see how that plays. But yeah, those two are top of my list there. Matt, what you think?
Portland was going to be the one place I didn't want him to go because of said curse.
Oh, okay.
It's well beyond. I mean, even if he played a couple years, I don't want him to go out like Brandon Roy either.
Brandon Roy, Greg Oden.
Yeah, there's something about it. Dame's the only one who hasn't run from the grind or survived it. So
right,
yeah. But I think my favorite fit would be San Antonio, especially with a player that's sort of as unique as him. Like, I more would look at like the institution that he's going to rather than the pieces they have around him. Like San Antonio and their stuff with Kawhi, and the medical stuff was a little weird. But other than that, they seem like, a top-class organization in the NBA.
They were like one of the first teams as far as bringing in a lot of like international players.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a good fit. And, maybe it has like a fountain of youth effect on Pop and we get him for another like 5 more years.
Right.
But, other than that, I like him in Detroit, like you said, G. I mean, 7'5" small forward might be a little much, but I still like what they're building there, like you do. And then if I want to go like Patrick Ewing frozen envelope conspiracy angle with this,
right? Correct.
Watch out for the Mavericks because, as like especially the NFL is trying to go to Europe. The NBA has all these top European players. They'd love to send the Mavericks over there like twice a year. Mark Cuban makes a bunch of European money, and
hey,
they can send Luka and Vic out there.
WEMBANYAMA ain't a part of the Aryan race, though. So.
Oh, God.
I mean, so right, he's not. It's a little outside Mark's.
You knew it was coming, G.
Oh my God.
You know what Cuban likes over there.
Oh goodness.
Lori marking it on the way.
Okay, wait. So we
Lori
can
marking it on the way.
So wherever the Mavericks fall, we can just pencil in Drew Timmy. Is that?
Not quite. Not quite.
Well,
they gotta have a little foreign spice to them too.
a little flavor. But yeah, that's fun. We're definitely excited to see how it's gonna play out. Definitely, as Alec pointed out, wherever he goes, we're definitely gonna be tuned in.
Absolutely.
And we'll certainly have a lot to say about it all, and looking forward to that. The last thing I'll say about the draft is, with him being as highly touted of a prospect as he is there any trade package out there that you would accept for the first pick? Or if you get the first pick, would you hold on to that for dear life to make sure you get him? Alan, I'll start with you.
Oh.
I think for multiple first picks, and like I'm blanking on a team off the top of my head, but a team that's like desperate for a veteran like third piece that can like they feel can get them over the hump to getting a chip. No, not the Kings. Don't even try it, G.
I didn't even say anything. That's crazy. I wasn't even thinking of them at all.
Show them about your team, G.
A team that's like desperate for like a third piece that they could like make them a championship team potentially, but you're not really gonna have that towards like the bottom of the like standings, like who is higher in the draft. So it would have to be a lot of like draft compensation. Like
we pointed out a while ago.
First round.
We pointed out a while ago. OKC still has all 37 of their picks. Should they send all their picks up there for them?
I mean, it probably wouldn't take much if they say they get like the 4th pick and they want to trade up. Like, can trade like the 4 and like 2 or 3 of those first, and you probably have a deal.
I honestly don't love the him and Chet combination, like that idea. Some people like the 2 towers.
No, they just lock arms at half court and no one can pass.
Giddy's like 6'8" too, isn't he? So they got a whole bunch of trees over there.
He's a guard though, but yeah. No, but yeah, I don't love the idea of that. Like, it could be cool in concept. We've seen like AD and Boogie, but it just wasn't the greatest fit there.
And if Boogie didn't tear his Achilles, I'm still sold on that team.
That would work. To be honest with you.
Come on, guys, come on.
They put it together for like 10 games, Alec. Don't you forget it.
Was that not the series that? Was that not the series that? Wait, okay, so they got through.
Tore his Achilles, and that's why that didn't work out.
They had Rondo on that team, right? Like they got through the Blazers because Drew locked up Dame that series, and then they got cooked. I think the next round. I think they ran into the Warriors or something, so it made sense. But
sounds right in the West.
Yeah, the 2 towers thing doesn't really gel for me in this era of the NBA. I guess it's different because they kind of have guard skills, but I also worry about the durability too. So yeah, I don't love having both those guys on team when Chet already got hurt before his rookie season.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I would go elsewhere if I'm OKC, but maybe this is what Presti's waiting for. We don't know.
I mean, so in regards to a Wemby trade, like Celtics fans were convincing themselves, not me. I was mad at Jason Tatum, but I was not in this camp. People were saying trade Tatum for the number 1 pick with whoever gets it. So it's like, I mean, a proven superstar like that, like maybe they consider a trade, but I think like you're saying, Alec, unless it's maybe a trade up from like OKC who has all those assets, I don't really see how a team that would want Wemby and also has the assets to go get him could, like all of those factors. I don't think they come together for a team.
Right.
Got it. Okay, so we'll see. Again, just excited to see how this all plays out. Excited for the conference finals games that be going on as well. Just a lot of good stuff going on all across the league right now. I thought we both picked. We picked the Lakers. We picked the Celtics. I brought it up earlier. If we do see way too early, look. Do you think it's a repeat of how we win the regular season? How you feeling about Lakers Celtics?
2 Celtics wins.
Hey, G don't want me to get any sleep, man. It's like past.
All right, no, we're done. Forget it. We're done. Y'all were going hella long with all your answers anyway. So if you were up,
he's asking more questions. So
all right, we're done then. We're done.
Lakers in 6. Lakers in 6 once again, though.
Okay, I'll leave with that. So now I guess Matt just get a response. We're gonna get out of here. So that's it then. It's a lot of good stuff to look ahead to. I think I will tune in yet again. Thank you, Matt, for joining us. Alec, thank you from Paris joining us as you did. Absolutely. Get your rest now. Hopefully, run into Kanye and Jay-Z out there.
I'm still debating on whether I'm gonna wake up for this Laker game. We'll see.
Yeah, figure it out some kind of way, but it's definitely gonna be one you want to tune into. But yeah, that's it for now. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to us. Again, continue to show love wherever you do. Like, review, subscribe, comment, share, DM us as some of y'all have been doing now. We're having you guys show love.
We'll get cooked in the DMs.
We'll surely we'll talk with you in the DMs and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, excited to keep this thing rolling. So that's it for today. Yeah, now we're gonna touch the Ja Morant stuff right now. Don't feel like dealing with that. We'll address that another time. And yeah, that's it for now. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all again real shortly, man. Appreciate it all. Peace.
Deuces.
Bonjour. Oui. I don't know.
Yeah.